Yeah, I can see why it did. Obviously, how the circumstances played out. Um, that was before a college game, and obviously think the world of Kyler as a player and person. But the timing of it is pretty unique.
Coach, when you played for Rec League, people made fun of this offense. I talked to Combine at that time. The NFL said it was a Mickey Mouse offense. What do you think? How's it taken over the NFL? What's made it change? Why the change?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the talent you're playing with, no question. I mean, you look at a guy like Patrick, what he did in Kansas City, unique ability, unique talent, and there's some really good offensive minds in the NFL now that are doing some things conceptually that help those young quarterbacks and allow them to play at a high level quicker in their careers.
You were a Maverick at Tech, played for a Maverick. What's it like being in the mainstream?
Yeah, just trying to get in where I fit in at this point.
Coach, how does Christian Kirk fit in with what you like to do?
Yeah, he's a dynamic player. I've followed him, when he was at Texas A&M. Obviously, I worked with Coach Sumlin, so cheered them on there and watched what he did. And he's a guy who can play inside, outside. When the ball's in his hands, he's really explosive. And so I'm excited to have him and work with him and find different ways to kind of move him around.
Coach, were you still at Texas A&M?
I was.
What are you seeing back there?
Yeah, he's a player that you'd like to make into one of those mismatch problems. I think he has the talent to do that, to be a guy that can put his hand in the ground and then you split him out and move him around and do different things and be a tough matchup for the defense. But he's got to continue to improve and get better and take it upon himself to be a pro each and every day. And so we'll see how that plays out this offseason. Yeah, I think it's tough no matter what. I think that the level of defensive line play is so incredible that it's going to be a shock to the system no matter what. But I guess guys that played in a similar offense in college may have a bit of a easier transition just being in a system they're comfortable with. Yeah, that's a big deal. I think you've seen the defenses that have had that have really done some good things and made some deep runs. And so with Vance and his scheme, what he did in Denver with those two guys, we'd obviously like to replicate that if we can. I think it's really deep. I was unfortunate enough to coach against Ole Miss the first game of the year and got to see those two up close and personal, and or three. And in the Big 12, there's always guys that put up a bunch of numbers and have great careers. So I think it's a really deep class, and excited to evaluate it and get around those guys this week. Yeah, I think they were both very productive, dynamic athletes, and so anytime you see guys like that were that productive in college, big physical specimens, I mean, they would definitely have a role in our offense. Yeah, I've heard great things about him. Watched him make a ton of plays. Actually coached against him as well, and he's a big physical presence and goes up and attacks the football in the air and looks like he's going to be a guy who continues to come up the draft boards. Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, it's a combination of both. This being my first year, trying to find that balance of who all to evaluate. But we've got a pretty good feel going into the draft with a lot of the prospects. Yeah, obviously, was thrilled to be there with Coach Helton, and thought that was an incredible situation with where I think that program's going. But when you have a chance to be an NFL head coach and come to a situation with Steve Keim and Michael Bidwell, you can't say no. No. It's funny how the world works, but the last couple of years, having some of those quarterbacks transition to the NFL and watching their success and conceptually seeing some of the things going on in the NFL, I felt like that this was where I wanted to end up. I just didn't know when.
Coach, what are your impressions of David Johnson? Is he a guy that you can build the offense around?
He has been, and I think that's what's exciting for us is that couple years removed, he had a ton of yards and was productive in the passing game and the rushing attack, and we want to get him back there. We want to make him a pivotal part of our offense, and he's got the mental makeup and the talent to do that. Yeah, I just that we're big on adapting our offense to our quarterback and our personnel. We've had all types in this system, and so I don't think that is very relevant. He's a tremendous talent. I feel like he got better as the season went on last year. Showed a lot of mental toughness and competitiveness, and so I don't think it's a relevant argument. Yeah, I think mental makeup, what drives them. Obviously, the size and speed factor, and then competitiveness. How do they attack this week in every phase? Yeah, Clay's such a versatile player. I was at University of Houston. We played against him at Tulsa, and I've always been enamored with the different ways he can be used, whether it's in the backfield blocking, or you can hand him the football, or he can be a matchup at wide receiver. He can just do a lot of different things, and he's a veteran presence that we felt like could be good for Ricky in that room. He'll have a prominent role. We'll do different things and move him around, and we're going to put the best players on the field. And so I know we've been in less, 11 personnel formations there at Texas Tech the last couple of years. When we had Jason Morrow, we were in it every single play. So we're going to play to our strengths.
Did you seriously consider that now that you're in the same division? What do you think about coaching?
Yeah, I have a ton of respect for Sean as a person and a coach. He's one of the best football minds there is, and he's a great person as well. And so I definitely looked at that at the time, and so it'll be tough coaching against him. He's got it rolling right now, and we have our hands full. Yeah, I'm not sure how that went into the thought process in the hiring, but I think it didn't hurt watching what Pat's done at an early age and playing in a spread system, being in shotgun. I think those guys, him, Baker, Case Keenum, their success has shown that there's some concepts that have come up from the college ranks that those guys can play early and play at a very high level. Yeah, I have no idea on that. This is my first time through it, and so I'm sure Steve will be answering the phone on all of it, but I'm not sure where we stand on that just yet.
Did you take anything away from your time with Patriots, whether from Belichick or Brady, to kind of use your
No question. Through my playing career and as a coach, you're around Bill and Tom and the way they operate, the level of preparation, the competitiveness at practice. Those are all things that stay with you for life when you've been in that building. No doubt. I mean, that's kind of the mountaintop of preparation and competitiveness, and you can see why they win so much. Yeah, I think having it at the top of each round is big, and Steve's done some nice things in free agency so far, getting the first look at those guys that get released, and so hopefully that continues throughout free agency and the draft. Yeah, like I said, the talent is obviously there, very cerebral, and I just like the way he fought at the end of the year through some adverse conditions, never turned it down, continued to get up, continued to fight, and compete his tail off till the end. I've always stood by that, I felt like, football is football, and it's about players more than anything. So if you have the right guys pulling the trigger, the right guys running the routes, and the right guys handing it to you, you're going to look pretty good. And I think that's what people are seeing. Yeah, I've had, one dinner with Pat, and he seems fired up to be in. I know getting Robert on the other side was exciting for him. They're friends, and so he is excited to be a Cardinal. He wants to be a Cardinal the rest of his career, and that's the last time I spoke to him.
You've got a young quarterback. Would you be hesitant to bring in a veteran wide receiver who offense always wanting the ball and criticize coaching and quarterback?
I mean, it depends how good they are. You know, if they're that good, I think you can find that happy medium.
Kliff, have you heard from Tom Brady or Bill Belichick at all since you guys have done?
Yeah. Actually, both of them reached out and text, and were excited. So that meant a lot to me.
Still show a lot of film from the game. Do you plan on
Yeah, I'm sure we will. The college kids really got excited about it. So I'm sure we'll still find some clips to show.
Would it be more film or new film?
He's got a lot of film out there, so a little bit of both.
What do you look for in a backup quarterback? We're talking about
Right.
what's your feelings about what a backup should be and have one on the roster right now?
Yeah, you want a guy who can come in and obviously give you a chance to win games, and a great team guy, a locker room guy, a guy who can show a young quarterback how to be a pro is ideal.
You explained, how the offense is going to pass on. What do you say to USC fans who, are kind of looking forward to having you run that offense and now feel maybe like
Yeah, I think, looking at the talent on their roster and what they got coming back, and just being there for the time I was, they're going to be really, really good. They got Graham Harrell, who's a tremendous offensive mind, and so they're going to be a tough out in that league. So I think they should all be really excited for the team they have coming back. Same deal. Just a phenomenal offensive mind, has been at every place he's been. And you watch what he did this year, kind of adapting to his personnel, losing the quarterback, really making the tight end kind of the centerpiece of that offense. Just shows how diverse and dynamic he is as a play caller. I think so. I think it'll be exciting in that part of the draft to pick some key components and try to find the diamonds in the rough.
How do you feel if you guys decide this right now? Is that going to always on you, or are you
I mean, we'll see. We'll see who we think is that pick first and foremost, and if what's best for the organization is to trade out, we'll trade out. But I'm going to lean obviously on Michael and Steve for a lot of that.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.